one of the best rosters in the NFL lost to one of the worst offenses and defenses in the NFL and is now last place in the NFC West. And I'm talking about your 49ers. I got the shades on because I'm mourning this loss. Give me 17 seconds. I'm going to be right back with my guys, Twin and Brother Bob.
Back to throw Montana. Steps up, throws. The 49ers have won the Super Bowl.
And now your host, Ryan Hensley.
Now your host, Ryan Hensley.
Oh, man, you look who showed up, the Rams fan. Of course you showed up. You were gone all last week after the Cardinals whooped you, but I knew you'd be here tonight. Brother Bob, Twin, how you doing tonight, Twin?
Man, hey, I'm in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for all the smoke, not only for the Rams, but also for the 49ers fans, because you know how we go be. We're going to say some things that going to go against conventional wisdom. But, man, I'm here, man. I'm good. It's another day to be alive, man. What's cracking, man? How y'all doing out there?
Good to see you, Brother Bob. How are you doing, man? You were at the game tonight, man. How was it at the game?
Man, first of all, I never lost in SoFi. And then to take that L on the chin, probably the best thing about today, looking back, was meeting Naylor, met up again with Sunil, and met a couple other of you podcasters, content creators. Man, this game just was so hard to be at. Because from jump, it just looked like our defense had no answers. We just couldn't stop a depleted Rams team. And it just looked like they were on a whole nother level for speed, that our defensive secondary, linebackers, oh God, man, the linebackers were hideous. Just don't get me started. It was tough, man. It was tough. But I'm here. It's good to see you, Ryan OG, and my brother 2020. It's good to see you too.
What's up, man?
So just so everyone knows, man, Saturdays have been tough for me in the schedule, so I'm not going to be able to do the call-in show for a while. I'm busy with real estate, but we are going to be doing these post-game shows at 8 p.m. on Sundays. When they have a morning game or an afternoon game, we will do these post-game shows 8 p.m. Sundays, so make sure you guys tune in, hit that like button, subscribe. I'm going to be on tomorrow live with Vish and Eric Crocker at 9 a.m. But let's dive into this game. Twin, give me the main reason. What's the main reason the 49ers lost this game?
Jeez, main reason. I think oh God, Lord have mercy. It's multiple things. I just hard to pick one, but I think our trenches. It's the trenches, man. When you begin to lose in the trenches, whether it's the defensive line being able to get some type of pressure on Matthew Stafford, or the offensive line being able to continue the run game in the second half, which was very dominant in the first half. And so it begins and ends in the trenches for me with this game right here today.
Yeah, man. Bob, what about you, bro?
You know, this defense, watching it live, it reminds me this. I'm just going to say this. I think that Staley is running our defense, because this looked like a Staley type defense, which is vanilla looking, very bland, didn't get hardly any pressure on Stafford. Yes, I believe Hargrave got 2 sacks, but it was just like more like cover sacks. And just look, we need to replace Campbell ASAP. That guy is slower than molasses. And Fowles is not much better, man. So they couldn't stop the run and they couldn't cover. It was so hard to watch. I mean, I was literally saying, what happened to our defense? Ryan, did it look the same to you? Twin, look the same to you?
Let me give y'all something. Let me give y'all a little drop of. All right, so Steve Wilks was fired last year for giving up 17.5 points per game. This year so far, the 49ers have given up 23 points per game. If you look at just the first 3 games of Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley combo, it's 23 points per game. If you look at the first 3 games of Steve Wilks, it was only 13.3 points per game. If you want to compare the first 3 games with the first 3 games. So I took a poll on Twitter and asked them, what's the problem with the defense? Is it coaching? Is it personnel? And they all voted coaching. And I mean, it feels like this team is talented enough from a personnel standpoint. So I guess it has to be coaching. One thing I'm going to mention, but I want to get your take, Twin. the absence of Dre Greenlaw right now to me is extremely obvious. But what's your take, man? Coaches, personnel, what's your take?
I think it's a little bit both. The defensive line, we still got to have we don't have a hog mouth. For some reason, we're not getting anybody that is consistently moving that offensive, like the center and the guard combination. We're not getting no push. We're not getting in the backfield consistently, especially when it comes to the running game. One thing for sure, two things for certain. We miss Greenlaw because not only is he a tackler, but he's a thudder. When he hits you, you go the opposite direction. But also that brings not only physicality, but it makes you a little bit scared to catch certain balls or even run the ball a certain type of way. The one and only Fred Warner can't do every and all things. And with the lack of speed, when we don't have Greenlaw, and then the lack of back end and the secondary speed, we become very slow. And so if we don't necessarily make the first contact and knock them down, we're not catching up quickly enough. We're not rounding to the ball or flying to the ball or swarming to the ball quick enough as well, which therefore leads to extra yard gain after first contact. So, man, we definitely got to go and find some athleticism. We need some youth. We need some youth. We need some young legs out there that got some good lungs and that can still have some tread on their tires and go out there and run.
Bob, what about you, man? What do you see? What do you see from is it personnel or coaching in your opinion?
Okay, the drop off in this defense makes me think it's more coaching. Only because I mean, guys were out of position and in this game, but when it comes to just running up the gut, like Twin said, if we can't get there quick enough, they're moving our bodies. I'm telling you, man, Collins got moved. 92s at your tier. That whole defensive line was a push for a little guy, barely bigger than me, Williams out of Notre Dame, but still, it was pathetic seeing like. I think it's more coaching though, because they got to get those guys in places, and they probably should do away with the wide nine. I don't think these guys up front fit well with that wide nine, man. I just don't. Yeah. And Bosa disappeared. I mean, you got the highest paid defensive end in this game. It looked like he just disappeared. Like I don't remember him doing anything other than they showed how he had a face mask that they didn't call.
Yeah, man. I'm a little hot, man. I'm trying to keep it cool. Cosmo wants to know why I'm wearing sunglasses at 8 p.m. because I'm mourning the loss. I'm mourning the loss of the 49ers, a once great team. Keith Murphy says Ward is playing like shiz. He had a bad game tonight. Keith Murphy wants to know also why is Ronnie Bell out there? Good freaking question, and we're going to get to that also. But Matthew McCallum says Kyle is losing the locker room. Post-game interviews, players seemed off and annoyed. Well, I'm sure they do seem off and annoyed, Matt, but are you sure it's Kyle or they're just mad at the loss? I mean, that's a big jump in assumption. I feel you. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know. And he also says, how about getting some help for Bosa? That would be a good thing. But Brother Bob, you were at the game, man. What did you see from the defensive line? I mean, they did get, 3 sacks? Bosa was not one of those guys, I believe. Let me double-check statistics. But what did you see on the D-line?
Well, it was like a tale of two cities, basically. The first half, although we couldn't really stop them, it didn't look as bad. Mm-hmm. That D-line, though, man, like I said, they get pushed around very easily. And from the Rams of all teams. This is the Rams who had a lot of injured players themselves. And it just looked like Twin said, okay, like we couldn't keep – they had us beat so bad. The A-gap was open. And then you had slow-ass Campbell, couldn't get there. It was just like – right, Twin, that's what I'm saying. It was just like, okay, you see a hole a mile away coming, and we were nowhere near it. So I think it was – I just think it was bad, man. But the talent is there somewhat. I mean, no, we are missing. I mean, Armstead, granted, he was injured a lot, but at least you can count on him not to get pushed like this. Collins, I know you had a couple of good games, but he got pushed. He got manhandled today, bro. Manhandled.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Malik Collins got a sack. Sam Okeananu, that's how you say it, got a sack. Javon Hargrave had a sack. That was a good play by Javon Hargrave, actually, believe it or not. And that Sam Okeananu sack, I believe, was assisted by Nick Bosa. He had to step up and got sacked because Nick Bosa was there. Let's talk about, before we dive into like all the negatives, I do want to talk about a couple bright points. The biggest bright spot was Jauan Jennings, 11 receptions, 175 yards, 15.9 average, 3 touchdowns. The hat trick for Jauan Jennings. Twin, what did you see from Jauan, man?
Opportunity. And not only did he get opportunity, he was able to run some routes that allow him to go down the field and make a play. This is one thing about this offense that I haven't liked so far. You have these type of weapons where we sit there and be so like keen on these short routes, you know what I'm saying, for these guys who aren't super athletic, far as like going down throwing like a 40-50-yard bomb. But sometimes you just gotta throw it up there and give these guys an opportunity. And I think Jauan Jennings today, it wasn't like he was wide open on some of those passes. He had to go out there and strong on it or make a Randy Moss play. But when you're a wide receiver, I play wide receiver. Sometimes you just want the coach to say, hey, man, give me a chance. Even if I'm not wide open, man, like let me go out there and show my athleticism. Let me show up my dog. Let me show that I got more bite, more heart than the other guy do. And I think Brock Purdy did that today, giving Jauan Jennings not only once, twice, but several opportunities. And you all know in this offense, a guy can have a hot first quarter, but because of the weapons, he might not see the ball into the third quarter once or twice, and then maybe once again in the fourth quarter. Whenever you're a wide receiver, man, you get this thing called rhythm. You get a feel. And when you know you're going to get fed consistently, you feel a certain type of way. You are eager to run your routes. You are eager to go out there and attack the ball. You are eager to go out there and make a move on the DB and let your coach say, hey, man, keep feeding me the ball. And so I felt that in Jauan Jennings today. He was like, hey, man, I think they actually trusted me, and I'm going to reward them by not only going out there and competing, but going out there and make big plays. And I think Brock continued to feed him the ball, man, which was something I enjoyed to see today. And I think we could do that more often if I'm being honest with y'all.
Yes, sir, man. We got a couple more super chats. Shout out to Keith Murphy, says miss 57 in pass coverage for sure, man. Greenlaw is so underrated, and you see it by his absence. It's coaching and personnel, says Keith. Feels like 2020 all over again. It does, my friend. And then our not so special team strikes again. Let's talk about that, y'all. So special teams. Why is Brian Schneider never mentioned? Never mentioned. It's time to mention Brian Schneider, dude. Do your job. Look, tonight, fake punt. Kyle says they were expecting the fake punt. Were you? Because if you were, why didn't you stop it? I don't understand. I was expecting the fake punt, but they got it anyway. So you were expecting the fake punt and they got it anyways. Trash. Moody misses the field goal. Could have put him over the top. Then they allow a long kick return at the end of the game, man. Talk to me about special teams, please. Who is last?
Hey,
you know what?
Special. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. They were special.
Hey, they were special.
Yeah.
But if they were special, they need extra attention before the game, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that they do what they needed to do, in which they did not. Anytime you have a team like the Rams who are deficient with 7 starters, not necessarily on their offensive line or in the offensive game, you got to make sure that you know that this team is going to try any and every old thing to try to get a point any and every old way, or an opportunity to continue to push the chain game forward. And so to not only be like, there's a lack of urgency there. There was a lack of focus. It was like we just wasn't prepared. You know what I mean? And again, we still have more talent than that team does. And with the amount of talent that we do have, these are the things that shouldn't happen to us, whether it's getting a fake on us, letting 45, 50 yards on a doggone kick, and then missing the field goal. And even though I think the field goal was too long, far as we should have been better positioned, but that's another thing about play calling, how we was barely like able to even get into that position because we were calling dumb plays. But that's a whole nother situation, but we'll get there when we get there, man. So, man, we weren't special at all. That's all I got to say, man. We was definitely lacking, and we need a tutor.
We need a tutor.
We need a tutor. They need some milk, man. We need some milk.
And
so to me, there's 3 things, right? Special teams, obviously, the defense, obviously. And by the way, before the season, I gave off the worst take that I've given off in a while. I've given off a few bad takes, but one of the worst ones I've given off was I said this team's going to be top 3 in defense in the NFL. And then Diamador Lenore QT'd it and said we've been at the top or something like that. I feel like hitting up Demo and be like, really, bro? Because I'm not seeing it, even though Demo did okay tonight. But here's the other thing: those two special teams defense. But one of the main reasons we lost tonight was by a cat named Ronnie Bell, and I don't want to give Ron. Look, we all know what Ronnie Bell is. We've seen Ronnie Bell. We've seen him do this over and over again. So the blame goes to who Brother Bob calls Kyle Levy for playing him when you have Jacob Cowan on the bench, when you have Chris Collins on the bench. Why are you playing Ronnie Bell? Brother Bob, you were at the game, man. What'd you see from Ronnie, man?
Man, that guy has worse hands than my 48-year-old hands. And it's okay. Here's the thing. It's funny because as much ish as I get Kyle Levy, I thought the first half was one of the best coaching I've seen from him. I think I've been told Jesse this and Sunil, but I mentioned like, whoa, where's Colin? You know, we didn't see him out there. And I just don't know what it is about Ronnie Bell that Kyle sees so much in him, other than maybe he's not a rookie anymore. But that guy just can't catch. And it's pretty evident he needs to be cut, you know, move on from him. I'm surprised he even made this team. Granted, yes, Pearsall was injured. But look, before we talk, if we're going to talk about receivers, I'm going to say this. Ayuk had an up and down game. He had the first catch.
Yeah.
But then he was open a lot too. So it was just kind of weird to me. Like that second half, it just looked like we were sleepwalking on offense. But we still we moved the ball. You talked about special teams though. Let me say this. That was the one time though that I was yelling, don't kick that field goal. Because the thing about Moody is I don't think he's got it yet. You know, yes, he started off the year perfect. He kissed one in the first game. But I'm telling you, man, you can just tell the pressure was maybe a little bit too much for him. And, you know, and because he had to hit it. And I know he missed it by like maybe 6 inches to a foot. But I was concerned about that kick. And the fact that we just can't cover. I mean, it's just we need to go back to the drawing board, man. We need to really start coaching these guys up on special teams and on defense because it's just pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm sorry.
Man. This breaking news from Chris Hansen, the Rams won. Yeah, we know, bro. We know. Let's talk Brock Purdy, man, because I actually thought Brock did really good. Brock Purdy was 22 of 30, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns. 0 interceptions. He did have the fumble, but that one is on Kyle's boy, Colton McKivitz. I don't really blame Brock for that. There's not much you can do in that situation when you're getting blindsided and knocking the ball out of your hands. So that one to me is on Colton McKivitz. So overall, Brock played, I thought, really good. Now, I did point this out on Twitter, and people were not happy about it, but it's the truth. I thought Brock played really well. He did not lose the game for the 49ers tonight at all. He did enough to win the game. That being said, there was one play that could have sealed the deal. Brandon Ayuk wide open at the second to last possession. And if he would have saw him and threw it, like he was like 15 yards open by it. No one was close to him. It was a touchdown. Had he thrown that would have sealed the deal. And I think Brock played really well. I would classify Brock as, and I have classified Brock as a really good quarterback. But if he wants to become that elite level, he's got to see that pass, hit that pass, win the game for his team. That's the one thing I'm missing. I will say Brock looked really good. I liked seeing him scramble, move around. Brock had 41 yards scrambling. That's exactly what I wanted to see from him. I thought he did really good. It's just that one little thing could have won the game. Again, I don't blame the loss on him, but it's kind of like the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, he played good, but he had an opportunity to win it, and he didn't capitalize on it. But overall, I thought Brock played good. What did you see from Brock tonight, Twin?
I gotta agree with you for most of the part, man. I thought he played good. Sometimes for me, he fidgeting in the pocket, and he may scramble around a little bit too much and don't necessarily like give a opportunity for a receiver, maybe because of his arm strength. And I know it's not trying to say he can't throw the ball far, but when you are scrambling around, sometimes you have to put a zip on the ball, especially when there might be a wide receiver who's doing a plaster route, then he may go the other direction, like, hey, throw it. cross field on the opposite hash, but that does take some of this right here. You know what I mean? But other than that, man, I thought he moved around well. I liked when he scrambled when certain things, like certain opportunities weren't there. I really don't have no angst against Brock, man. I wish Kyle would have helped him out a little bit better, make some move the pocket from time. Like, I don't know why Kyle never likes to move the pocket with Brock. Brock has to move all the pocket himself as far as him just scrambling around. But sometimes I think if you just can cut the field off and just give him maybe 3 reads on one side with a little boot or something of that nature, I think you can really help him out, especially when the offensive line ain't necessarily holding up like they're supposed to sometimes. And we know which side we're talking about. It's like, dude, if we know they're giving it up like a version of prom night on the right-hand side, I'm going to need you to move around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need us to adjust, you know what I mean? And to help them out, or at least, get back to running the ball some. But other than that, man, I think Brock played, like you said, good enough. He did miss that one pass, which actually he had time to pass it that time. We're like, dog, he had a long, I think it was like 5-6 seconds in. Like he looked at him.
He looked
and then
looked turned away.
Again, it turned all the way away. And then Brandon kind of turned with him and started running the same direction. And he just was like, I guess he just couldn't, I don't know, he didn't pull the trigger, but man, he played good though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought Brock played good enough to win for sure. Just one missed passes. It happens in every game. I'm just pointing it out because it could have iced the game. But overall, I was happy with Brock. He definitely wasn't the reason we lost. But what'd you think, Brother Bob, about Brock?
Yeah, I was happy with Brock. I thought, that pass is, I think it's the 3rd touchdown to Jennings, that deep one, the out and up. I thought that was just pretty, I had no problems with Brock at all. I'd give Brock a B+. I thought he played really well. I just think that, unfortunately for him, and I don't want to blame Kyle Levy for this, but he just had a defense that just was bro, it was butter. I mean, they were buns. When you come against and play against the Rams, who just clearly didn't have their number 1 receiver, number 2 receiver, didn't have really anything on offense, you got to be able to stop them. You just got to be able to stop them. And you started off the show talking about that, how Wilkes gave up 17 points the first two or three games, or maybe the whole season, right? And here you are, you have, Staley and Sorensen. I just don't know what was. I literally saw the blandest defense. We just kept rushing forward. I didn't see many blitz at all. I didn't see many stunts. I didn't see anyone pulling anywhere. It was just go get your man, and they couldn't do it. And then when it got to the linebackers, it was like, what linebackers? If it wasn't Warner. So but back to your question, I thought Brock played really well. I had no issues with Brock today. I mean, yes, there were a couple throws, and when you're at the game, like you said, Ryan, you can't make every throw. You may have a couple of receivers that open, or by the time you see that the one is open, you got pressure in your face. By the way, Brendel.
Yeah, Brendel's been bad. Eric, I want to say this, man. You're my guy, but Brock wasn't the reason they lost. I mean, 22 for 30, 292 yards, probably like 7 drops, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He put up 24 points. That should be enough to beat any team if your defense is playing up to par, and the defense and the special teams are really what lost this game. Yes, Ronnie Bell had a chance to win it, but Kyle shouldn't have had him out there. Yes, Brock Purdy did have a BA opportunity deep for a touchdown, but it shouldn't have been that close. So that's my issue. Is like this defense, but here's the thing, man, and I want to get to this. All of these things that we're talking about, the defense, the coaching for the defense, the special team, the coaching for special teams, Ronnie Bell, the reason Ronnie Bell was out there, all that goes back to, who does it go back to, Brother Bob?
Kyle Levy. It's got to go to him, man.
Kyle.
It got to.
Kyle.
Right? It's on Kyle, man. He's making these decisions.
Hey, it's double impact too, though, Ryan. When you think about it, it's twofold. And we know this is nothing like technically it wasn't his fault, but with our number 1 draft pick, man, we didn't want the situation to happen to him. But even prior to that, he wasn't necessarily on the field. You know what I mean? And it's like, God, dog, man, it's like that's a trickle down effect because you need him. You know what I'm saying? Like you needed that depth. Danny Gray ain't here. You know what I'm saying? this guy, you know, because of certain circumstances, he's not here. And then the guy who we seen show multiple bright spots throughout this offseason and during the preseason, he was balling. Like, okay, we see you out here. You know, he did have that one fumble, I think, or that muff punt, I believe, a couple games ago that I think might have got him in the doghouse, if I'm being honest. And he hadn't been back out there since, for real. So I think Coward should be playing, man, because he has the physical tools to go out there and play. And he doesn't seem like he's like a muscle-bound guy. He's like fluid in his body, like he's already mature into his body. Bell seems like he's just trying to rely on his physical gifts. And we don't need that, man. We need you to just go out there and catch the ball and make a play, you know?
Yeah. Got a super chat from Keith Murphy. Shout out to all this. Keith Murphy, for all the super chats tonight, says, well, he hit Bell to make up for missing out. He did. And that's why, again, people, my Wi-Fi is horrible, by the way, fellas. You might have to take over. It freezes for me. But that's why I'm not blaming the loss on Brock Purdy. He did enough to win this game. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 292 yards, 22 for 30 with multiple drops. I'm just pointing out one play where he could have iced the game, but that doesn't mean he lost the game. The reason he lost the game is because his defense gave up 27 points to a horrible team. Now, Matt Stafford and Sean McVay are the real deal. They both are. And they made the best of their situation with what they had. But that's not an excuse. This team is supposed to be the best team in the NFL, according to Deebo Samuel, right? This team has one of the best rosters in the NFL consistently. You can't go down and lose to the Rams, who have been giving up the most points on the season. It's just absolutely unexcusable. Up by 14 points and you lose?
Hey, drop a 30 ball though, man. That's another thing. Listen, we know the defense sus. I'm sorry. Run the score up, god dog. Put 40 on that god dog on board, man. No, at the end of the day, you still got some horses out there. I mean, Mason's still Mason. Juwan look like Juwan Jerry Moss out there today. You know what I'm saying? We still got Kyle's juice check. I think Kyle could have been featured more so in the passing game. Every time he passed the ball, I mean, the ball is thrown to him, he either get a penalty or he catches the ball. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, even though like the first half, our defense was doing decent. Like it wasn't like they was out there getting buckets on us. It wasn't to the second half until they really started picking it up. So that's when you go out there and you try to put your foot, like you are playing away. You don't play while you are at somebody's house. You go out there, you show the dominance, you score touchdowns, and you try to let them know, like, hey, man, we ain't got time to play with y'all. While y'all hurt and lame, we finna murk y'all. That's the mentality you gotta have. Let's go hunt, let's go kill, then let's go eat. And I think, again, we didn't necessarily take that full mentality and then when you play with your food, Matthew started getting a little like feel of the offense. And the offensive coordinator, which is McVay, started getting the feel for the defense, which is we know the gaps in the holes, things like that. Then sooner or later, man, that avalanche came, man. When that pressure came, we all saw what we did when that pressure hit us, Lord Jesus.
So, yeah. Twin, on that note, Twin, my bad, Ryan. Somebody got to help me, Ryan. Now, I'm at the game, and I knew because Ward went out for a little bit, Green went in, and Ward came back in. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the announcer said anything, but what I just couldn't understand for the life of me is you got Tutu Atwell, speedster out there, and you got a gimpy, known gimpy Ward. Why was he one-on-one at the end of the game like that on him? I just don't understand. There was no one there to help. No one. Was that just me, or am I losing my mind? Was that just dumb or what at that point of the game? Because you knew they were going to take a deep shot, right?
I mean, again, it's his personnel, man. Understanding your personnel, understand he's been injured too. Like the dude has been hobbled from the earlier in the year too as well. So it's not like he coming out there fresh. And I think you said something earlier. We are slow guys. There's nobody on our defensive like in the backfield running a 4-3 or just quick as a hiccup. Our safeties are slow. Like I mean, shout out to Hufanga coming back, but he was never the one who was the quickest. And same thing with Jair. Like both of those guys, as we seen with Justin Jefferson last week, if it's even, they leaving. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like they leaving us, we ain't catching up. You know what I mean? And so we got to do something about that. You know what I mean? And so that's just the crazy part about our team right now.
Let me read this super chat. My Wi-Fi is actually working. Also, our receivers had 6 drops. Yeah, I mean, that's not Brock's fault either. Let me run this commercial so I can pay the bills. My good friend and sponsor, Chris McCurdy. We'll be right back in 17 seconds. We're going to wrap this up. The Ryan G. Hensley Show is powered by the law office of Chris McCurgy. Chris McCurgy and his team have been empowering businesses, guiding families, and taking care of the injured since 2012. In California, for estate planning, business, or personal injury, be smart and contact Chris McCurgy.
Okay, Amanda, I see you out here. She just hit a lick, boy. She was like, yeah, Chris got my money.
Man, the Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fi, and it's so annoying right now. I apologize to everybody watching. Thank you guys for holding it down real quick. What does this mean for the season, though, man? It's week 3. The 49ers are in last place in the NFC West. They are 1-3. Are you worried about the season, Bob?
Oh, man, listen, I have to be honest. I'm very worried because you see the cards they can score. We already know now we lost to the Rams. They can score when they don't even have their best weapons on this defense. And I think that the book is out on our defense unless, and I think it's Staley. Staley's going to have to do something with this defense. You know, they're going to have to let some other people, they're going to have to probably start Curtis Robinson, throw him in there because Campbell, I mean, he's just too slow, man. And Fowles, they're going to do something with him because when he comes in, he's just a slow and out of position. So I'm very concerned. To me, this defense has got so many problems, and they're slow as hell. I know I said it earlier, and Twin said it. They're slow. So we have to play some. Oh, man, this just – I hate to be negative. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to just say Brock looked good today. JJ looked good, but that defense gets the fat F. It was trash.
What do you think, Twin? What's the outlook after week 3?
Man, listen here. We better turn up because last thing did Seattle win too? That's all I gotta say. Like, man, listen, our division opponents ain't gonna be no cake. You know what I mean? Ain't no cakewalk. We gotta deal with the injuries. We have to deal with the inconsistency. We gotta deal with the lack of familiarity with one another because of all the different not only injuries but holdouts as well. We haven't mentioned this, but Trent Williams had a scare too as well. He got down, lower leg injury once again. Like that's not something that thank God he came back in the game, but it's only week 3. And so for a big man like that, that doesn't leave very quickly. And so we need to have a come to Jesus moment. You know, I know it's Sunday, but we really got to go to the altar. I'm Southern Baptist. You know what I mean? Listen here, we need an altar call. We need hey, we need you to raise your hand up and come on down here, man. We need to line our deacon boys up together. Hey, we need to touch and agree, man. In the might of the Lord, man, get things together. Because we gotta quit. We gotta quit playing with these people, man. Because these teams are getting confidence. We gotta realize how powerful confidence is. Y'all see the Packers, they got a second string quarterback in there, but they're winning though. Like they just stand afloat. These teams, even though we like Rams, they're staying afloat. They're supposed to lost this game. You know what I mean? Seattle, even winning today. Like these are teams that we need to make sure the wins that we can get, we need to get, especially in conference. And so I'm not saying that this is, oh my God, doom and gloom, but I am saying this is when man to man, we got to look each other in the mirror and say, hey guys, let's tighten the hell up and let's start taking care of business. Hey Kyle, we need to get our troops in order, man. So we can go out here and take care of the situation because it's no longer we need to play with people. We need to go out here and show some ferocity. We need to go out here and show that we're pissed off. We're going to show these people that we're not like entitled because Debo saying that we're supposed to be the best team. Like other teams hear that, guys. Like they like, ooh, I can't wait to play against y'all. Like, ooh, I hear you talking, Debo. Ooh, you can't come out here and play today, but guess what we're going to do? We got you. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't mean to take that long-winded answer, but that's how I be feeling when I hear certain teams talk crazy like that. Like, all right, I can't wait to play you. I got something for that.
I like,
you know what I'm saying?
I like the usage of the word veracity. So I appreciate that. Dazo 0187 says Bosa not living up to his contract. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about people not living up to their contract. Bosa is one of them so far, but Brandon Ayuk, where the hell are you at, man? I was making excuses for you in week 1. It's week 3 now, man. I'm done. He got 10 targets, 5 catches, 48 yards, 9.6, half of his average from last year. I mean, yes, he was wide open for a touchdown that he didn't get a chance at, but I mean, you kind of can't blame Brock after all those drops in his performance. So talk to me about people not living up to the contract, mainly Brandon Ayuk, Bob.
Yeah, you know, I saw at least one that he should have had. I mean, maybe 2. And I don't even think the defender knocked the ball out of his hands. I think it got up on him, maybe hit the chest plate, and then it came out. I was very disappointed with this showing, and I thought he would have a better game. He came out and got the first catch, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got the first play. So he's definitely not living up to his contract. You know, who else though? You mentioned Bosa. I don't get it, man. Like, I saw him drop back a couple of times in the coverage, and I'm like, I want Bosa going after the quarterback. I don't want him dropping back in coverage and being useless. And I saw that at least twice, and I'm like, what are we doing here? So I don't like that contract either. You know, and also Hargrave, he got a sack today. I don't know why I thought he had two, but he got a sack today. But they're not taking over. These multimillionaire guys, players, are not taking over games. And with half of the offense out, you know, perfect opportunity time for Brandon to take over a game, at least put a big imprint on it. And same on the defense, man. I'm sorry, but you know, Ward's got a ton of money. I know he's a little dinged up. These guys, not that I'm looking at their money, but you're the stars. You got to take over games. These are times when you got to do it. Like Twin said, look at Malik. They got Malik out there winning in Green Bay. And we know he's not that good, right? But he won today. So I think their coaching staff did what they had to do to work around him. Whereas we have more talent. No, we have more talent than the Rams, and we still found a way to lose. It's just, something's got to give, man.
Daza says Kyle needs to start playing the youngsters. What's the difference between a Green and Yada mistake? I agree. I mean, we do got to go young, man, for sure. I agree with that. Also, Melvin says Kyle not living up to his contract either. Twin, is Kyle?
I mean, listen here.
Yeah.
Hey, we've been saying that for a while now. It's like, again, it's when you got I say this whenever I get a chance to be on with my boy Ryan. If the Golden State Warriors from 2016, 17, 18, and 19 with Kevin Durant didn't win the ring, that would have been a travesty. Because everybody knew that was the best team. In multiple positions, they had all-star, all-pro caliber players. Again, this team, man, we have all-star caliber players, even with injured. We have in embarrassment of riches. Because other teams still don't have as much talent as we got, and we missing 3 guys. Like, that's the crazy part about it. Like, we still got more talent than a lot of teams out there. You know what I mean? And so to be out there not playing as a cohesive unit, meaning in all 3 levels, offense, defense, and special teams, not going out there getting it against a team, a division opponent who is guys on IR everywhere, everybody's injured. It's like, oh, we expect to win because 65% of the fans will be 49ers fans. So I guess we got this game. We got in the bag. And it's that cockiness. And I think Diamond Lenore spoke on it like, well, you know, we kind of got Laxi Davis core, kind of got, you know what I mean, relax a little bit. It's like, bro, we ain't won nothing. We haven't accomplished anything for y'all to get like all in your little prissy kind of like chair or whatnot. Like, ooh, we're the Niners. Like, bro, we the Buffalo Bills of the 2020s right now, bro. Like, this is nothing to be proud of, man. Y'all need to go out there smacking people in the head. And so we really got to go and reevaluate, say, guys, 1 week at a time, let's put our best foot forward. Kyle, take some ownership, some accountability. Nick Bosa, bro, you and Brandon Ayuk are looking the same. Y'all both getting $30 million a year, and y'all both looking real pedestrian out here, man. So, man, you looking chunky. Like Bosa doesn't look fluid. He got one move is a bull rush, and he got this slow, like, he need to do better. You know what I'm saying? So I'm off of him.
Well, next game is against the Patriots, who lost to the Jets, lost to the Seahawks, but beat the Bengals. They are also last in their division. The last place NFC West 49ers versus the last place AFC East New England Patriots showdown next week, man.
Put us on NBA TV. Put us on NBA TV.
It's at home. Do you think we bounce back next week?
Man, let me just say this. We wasted a career game by Jawan Jennings. Like, wasted that game. Mm-hmm. That dude, that brother played his ass off. And it's just pathetic that we wasted it. Like, we just Like you can't have a game like that and come up on the short end of the straw. I'm sorry, but that's I kept saying, man, this dude is just coming out today, slapping, is around, taking names. And then our defense just said, no, hold my beer, hold on. We're going to show you how we can lose this. So I just feel bad for Juwan. Shout out to Juwan, who just played a hell of a game. I mean, he dominated. And the Rams had no answers at all. Next week, if we don't come out and stomp the shit out the Patriots, their heads need to roll. Heads need to roll because that's just pathetic that we lost this week and last week. But there's no excuses. I mean, that's all I can say. There's no excuses. So next week, we better stomp the monkey shit out of them because Kyle Levy, this is all on you, man. You wanted to change in Wilkes. You wanted the defense to be a certain way. You put your guy in there, and your defense looks worse than I've seen this defense look in like years, man. This is terrible. I'm sorry. I know sky's not falling, but if you can please watch the all 22. All the people chat, because you know I love the chat. That's where I come from. It's bad. Like that defense was like JV league.
Yeah. Robbie says Sorensen should go up to the booth. Maybe it'll help. You know what though? Staley's up in the booth. Staley, it's a two-man army right there, right? Sorensen and Staley. Staley's up in the booth. There might not be any more room in the booth, and I don't know if the booth is going to help this team. They got to figure it out. They might need to abandon their wide nine and go to a traditional four-man front and change things up, man. Like whatever they're doing right now is not working, particularly against the run. They got to switch it up. If it's not working, switch it up. And at some point, here's my question, man. At some point, at what – look, the 49ers have started bad before, and they fought their way back, come back, and went on a run. And they could definitely do that this year, especially as guys get healthy. CMC, Debo, Greenlaw, all those guys get healthy. They could make a run again and bounce back, and this could be all for nothing. But if this continues the way it's going right now, at some point, 49 fans are going to get tired of the Kyle Shanahan experiment. As you know, as good as and successful it has been to some degree, it's just not living up to the contract, as Melvin pointed out, $14 million a year for a head coach. And it's also not living up to the hype, man. Like this roster is too good to be playing like this, man. I put out a tweet before the game and I asked everybody what players on the Rams are better than the 49ers at their position. And even the most knowledgeable people about the Rams and the 49ers, the most knowledgeable person, and he was even a Rams fan, could only give me 4 positions. I believe it was Stafford, the center, and a couple other guys.
McVay.
Well, there's another one. So it's like my point is like, even according to Debo Samuel, this is the most talented roster, right? It's the best team, right? Well, why aren't you winning? Like, what is the reason? If you're so good, why aren't you winning? It has to be, if it's not the roster, what is it? It's got to be coaching. So at some point, people are going to get frustrated, man.
It's that locker room, man. We got to be honest. And I said this early in the year. I posted this because I wasn't really active. I like, we got to understand what it means to go through a Super Bowl hangover. It's hard as hell to beat a team to not only win, but then have to pick themselves back up and do it again. And everybody's trying to take your head off. You got to know when to go out there and win when you can win, because every year somebody's getting a little bit better. And like what we talked about last year, that was the healthiest we have been in hellas. Like for real. Like, be honest with it. Like, dude, we was pretty much healthy the whole year compared to the other years we have been a contender in this league. And so to have the slew of injuries we have already, then to deal with the locker room mess, to deal with the, what's going on behind the scenes that we don't know. I think that's another thing with probably what's wrong with Brandon Ayuk. He's probably back, but there's some issues in that locker room, if we're being honest, the holdout and what it calls with continuity, what it's called with the media frenzy. Like, there's some stuff in that locker room that I know if somebody had an ear to the streets, they were like, yeah, that locker room ain't as brotherly as it once was. Like, there's some issues in there. So I'm seeing that from afar off. Like, I can look and tell when I see, like, I ride for my mother, you know what I'm saying? I like to die. Like, I could tell when my boys out there willing to go out there and do it for my homies. You know what I'm saying? There's some shaky stuff going on. So,
yeah. Eric says it's the offensive line and coaching, man. I agree. It is. Offensive line is one of the – I threw out the stats. They're not good. The 49ers offensive line is not good. Even Trent Williams, who is one of the best left tackles in the NFL, he's going into this game second in pass blocking, but 19th – second in run blocking, but 19th in pass blocking. So even Trent Williams – that's the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about. The effects of the holdouts. And, right, you see it with Trent Williams. He had to leave and go get an IV. Brandon Ayuk not playing.
Did we lose Ryan?
For sure. And
Wait,
he was
there?
saying that,
Hold on. I froze. Go ahead, guys.
oh yeah. Nah, I mean, I think you said it. You need continuity, man, especially with the wide receiver quarterback connection. You know, Juwan Jennings, another reason why he's probably been so awesome is he's been taking those reps. He's been playing that X, you know what I mean? So he's been familiar, and Brock has become accustomed to the timing of him in his routes. And so you see that. Trent Williams, unfortunately, man, he's a great guy, but at the end of the day, he's still a little long in the tooth, and he got to get lathered up. You know what I mean? I like to tell the young boys, even with your young lady, you know, hey, you got to preheat that oven, man. You just can't go in there and just put the thing in, you know what I'm saying, while the oven getting warmed up, man.
That's why I love Twin, man.
Hey, he got put in the oven, let it sit about 10 minutes before you just throw the food in there. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you got to take care of
That's why I
business.
love having Twin on, man.
Twin keep it real, right?
Yeah.
Hey, am I lying, y'all? When you get a little
No, you're
older,
not.
you gotta stretch the extra 15, 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You might gotta go out there and take a cold bath, you know what I mean? Like we gotta do extra things to prepare yourself against the young boys. And he playing against some young boys who they can eat a whole double stack, a whole crazy pack from God doggone White Castle, and they play the same day. But as you age, you just can't do that. And so they're trying to go out there and take advantage of old Trent Williams, man.
Did I read this one, Bob? This year's definitely showing how much Dre did
No,
last
you
year.
didn't, but go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bob. What's your thought? I think I spoke on this one earlier, but speak on this.
Oh man, look, Daz is right. This year's defense showing how much Dre did last year, and I agree. This is what I meant by the speed on the linebackers, the lack of. See, we don't have a linebacker other than, and then Warner that can go sideline to sideline, that can snuff out things. Warner plays the mic, so he's got a lot of coverage issues. But like stopping the run, that's the biggest thing that I think we need a linebacker to come up and clean the mess out of when it gets past our tackles. Man, but here's the thing. I still can't get over how this defense just looks like it's so disconjointed, even though they're not doing anything complicated. They're not doing anything difficult other than maybe dropping Bosa back every now and then, which I think is dumb. This defense just looked like it's playing like high school level. You know, when you think about the guys that were on the Rams today that was carving us up, think about who these guys were. They're not household names.
Nope.
I got to talk on this one. He says, "Oh my effing G, this is the best O-line game of the season. See, they're just looking for easy targets." Cade, our guy Jordan Mason ran for carry, which is his worst game he's ever had. They did not do their thing. This was not a good game. I hope you follow me on Twitter. I'll drop the statistics for you sometime this week, and you can stay tuned for that one. But if you watch Jordan Mason run the ball and everything, and then go against this putrid Rams defense and only average 4.1 yards per carry, the same as Brock Purdy average per carry, you can't speak to me honestly and say that this offensive line did its thing. Absolutely not, sir.
Even Brendel. I'm like, look. Even the announcer was like, well, brother just totally missed the block right here, guys. And just let him come. I'm like, we know this. Like, bro, we live this every week, man. Like, and we just had the coach just talk about Brendel, and I'm like, bro, it's an issue. Stevie Wonders can take Ray Charles' eyes and still see that this man ain't doing what he needs to do. Like, bro, like, come on, man. Like, we all can see this, man. Like, bro, we need some help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The center position, no, we need somebody to see the coverage, see where the blitz is coming, seeing the A and B gap. Like, see, like, he need to know how to slide protection. Like, he ain't doing what he need to be doing on a consistent basis, especially when you got a quarterback like Brock, who can't be having that pressure coming right up in front of him like that. He doesn't need that, man, because he's getting his arm hit too often. I'm telling y'all, every time I see it, I cringe when I see. I'm like, sheesh. Anyway, let me hush.
Keith Murphy says, I feel like we shot our load last year. Pause, sir. And yes, you're right.
Man, it was straight powdered milk.
Okay, but here's the thing. I got a question. Not to cut you off, Twin. I'm sorry, Ryan. And I get it. The Super Bowl hangover. But look, man, the Chiefs still, even though they won it, yes, they still play as many games and they still got the hunger. They still got the coach to come out there and still win. Are they not 3-0? They beat the Falcons, right? So
for sure.
I mean, we don't have, okay, you know what it is? And I hate to always be the guy talk about Kyle Levy. I really do think it's the lack of a good culture. You know, our guys aren't hungry. Our guys, we weren't ready for today. Like when the Rams came back in the second half and just started smacking ish out of us, we just weren't ready for it. And to me, I mean, that's inexcusable, right? I mean, Ryan, am I tripping? Tell me
you gotta it's like they say this in basketball and in football. You gotta know how to lose, like win ugly. Like, can you win when everything don't go your way? And that's how, if you look at the Chiefs, even last year, they didn't have the squad, but they won ugly and they won in many different types of ways. And that's a sign of a good culture and a good team where you can win, not just leading the pack, but whether it's coming from behind, whether it's relying on your kicker, whether it's relying on your special team to do something special. It's like, that's when you got a full fortified team. We can win consistently with our method of winning, which is getting that lead, running the ball, getting the air out the football. Like, we can win that way, but we're not built to win in different type of ways, man. It feel like the whole team started to take on the personality of the coach, which is he gets a little uptight, man. And I think we begin to play that way as well.
All right, final question for you guys. Brother Bob, we'll start with you. What's the final record for the 49ers this year? And do they make the playoffs?
You would ask me this after I went all the way to SoFi and saw them get just donkey stumped by a shitty Rams team. Look, I got concerns, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got concerns. I think we're gonna have big problems with the Rams again because they're gonna get their people back. I'm concerned about the Seahawks, even though I thought beginning of this year we would just have no issues with them. I'm concerned about them, and I'm sorry, I'm concerned about the Cards because they can score. You know, if we can't stop if we can't stop Call of Duty, dude, then we're gonna have some major problems just dealing with our own division. So the way we look right now on defense, man, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm saying 9 and 8. I mean, I want to say, 10 and 7, but this defense got to be overhauled. It's something's got to give on this defense. They have to do something because that's just you can't win with a defense like this. You can't. So no, I don't think we'll make the playoffs. I don't. I'm sorry, not like this.
Sheesh.
When? What do you think?
So we lost against the Vikings and Rams, two teams that most people would have thought we should have beat. In the next 2 out of the next 3 games are against Division 4, which is the Cardinals and the Seahawks. And by that time, Seahawks could possibly be leading the division, and the Cardinals could be number 2 in the division. You know what I mean? So those are going to be games that they're going to look and say, if we beat this team, they already lost against the Rams, and we beat them, they're 3 in the hole in conference. And so, and then after that, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, Cowboys, Buccaneers, and Seahawks again. Like, our schedule coming up, man, if we've been honest, it ain't a light load right now. You know what I mean? Like, we really got some things that we're going to have to take care of. We're going to have to go on the winning streak because, man, we got to take, man, I think we will win 10 and we'll go 10 and we'll get 10 games, though.
I think 10 and 7. 10 and 7 is my prediction.
10 and 7.
Yeah, I don't think we're winning the division. I don't think we're winning the division. We're 10 and 7. We're already 0 and 2 in the NFC. So I think we'll go 10 and 7, and we gotta, hope that that's good enough to get into the wild card. 49ers Vito says, I feel like Yadam will be this year's Oliver. I don't think he's that bad.
Yeah, Oliver, woo, horrid.
Oliver was awful, bro. Oliver was awful. That part I do put on Steve Wilkes because that was a Steve Wilkes pick. That's a bad one. That's a bad one.
Oliver
Anything else?
Doodoo Brown.
Anything else you gentlemen want to get off here before we wrap this up? Let's start with Brother Bob.
Hey man, thank God Cowboys lost. Glory, hallelujah, man. I gotta see here in, you know what I'm saying. I got no shade when you fall and pull down somebody with you know what I'm saying. And I also want to make this comment to y'all's out here. I was on this show with Ryan, I believe, or I listened to a show that Ryan did about the top 10 coaches. It's a guy in Pittsburgh, little black brother, look like Omar Epps, named Mike Tomlin. All I gotta say is they 3-0.
Yeah.
Y'all tell
with
me
Justin Fields.
with Justin Fields, Najee, who ain't running the ball nowhere, Harris, picking, I can't block. If my name was the Dikembe Mutombo, like, bro, how they out here getting dubs, man, and we out here getting L's. Like, put some respect on that man's name, man. That's all I gotta say. I got to salute to my man's out there, and also to the Vikings. They done won another game, man. These teams. This is what we cannot account for. The off season when these other teams are getting better, man, and they hungry because they've been getting their butt kicked in for the last 3 or 4 years against these upper echelon teams, and they just finally trying to get their get back, man. So that's all I got.
Yeah, shout out to Melvin. The Cowboys are 1-2, like the Niners. I'm going to the Niners game, man. They better not lose the damn ass Cowboys when I go. Brother Bob, what do you got to say, man?
Well, let me just say this again. I know I said it earlier. Man, Juwan Jennings. Man, that boy's a beast. Yeah, man. Salute to him. Because that was one hell of a game, man. I mean, I just love seeing that. But I hate to say this, but Twin just said something that's so true about coaching. And he said it earlier, but you got to win when you have the better talent. And if you don't have the better talent, you have to scheme up ways to make it happen. And look at Pittsburgh, prime example. I mean, how the hell is he winning with that team? I mean, yeah, he got Watts, okay, but Watts is actually dominant. Who's on the other side of Watts? That everyone wants us to have someone else on the opposite side of Bosa who just won. Yeah. Okay,
and they definitely don't got no goddamn on Warner.
Right, exactly. This is what I'm saying, man. So to me, I really think that we have to do something on the coaching. You know, we have to do something with coaching. This is where you got to make your money. You got to make your money by taking the talent that you have. Yes, CMC's out. Yes, Debo's out. Okay. Yes, Kittle was out. But your offense really had no problems today. Okay. It was your defense. And your defense should have been able to shut these fuckers out. And the fact that we didn't, excuse my French, scares me, concerns me, because I am really concerned who's coaching that defense. Like, is it Staley? Because if you look at this game, man, gentlemen, and then look how the Chargers look. They gave up a lot of points. They couldn't stop teams.
I said it already. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But I've been hot when they hired this. So look, if you look at the dynamics of Steve Wilks, they didn't Steve Wilks because he wasn't on the end. He wasn't in the in crowd, right? So to me, Brandon Staley is your defensive coordinator. Nick Sorensen is the face for the players. So they feel like it's somebody from in-house, and they don't. That's what I feel like is really going on.
No, you hit the nail on the head, bro. I mean, because it looks just like the Chargers defense out there. So, but let me just say this before I get up out of here, because Brian always, man, love the show, love you, Twin, love you, but the chat, love all the chat. We got a whole bunch of people up here this evening. Thank you guys for coming out. My heart is with the chat, from people from my brother, MMK, Matt McCune, Harris, Mitchell, a whole bunch of guys I've seen you out there. Eric just constantly hates on Purdy, but I get it, I thought Purdy had a good game. And to the rest of the chat, love y'all. And let me turn it over to the man himself, Ryan O.G. Hensley.
I appreciate you, man. I might wear my sunglasses on all my night shows, man. I'm feeling it like I got to wear my sunglasses at night. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to be on with Croc and Vish tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Twin Empire on YouTube as well. He does a fantastic job over there. And then tune in tomorrow a.m. For those that watch the 4-man front, that's going to be on my channel this week. I'm going to be giving $50 live on Thursday night with myself, Grant Cohn, Jesse Naylor, and the coach. So you got to be subscribed in order to do that. And then tune in tomorrow. I'm going to have Vish and Croc, the double whammy, as they say. I don't know anyone says that. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. It's 527 people watching. Should be a lot more likes.
Go and hit that button, man.
hit the subscribe button, hit the like button in the comments. Let me know what you think the 49ers record is going to be and if we're going to make the playoffs or not. I want to know. I want to hear from you guys. Appreciate you guys very much. Y'all have a great evening. Get some sleep, and I'll see you in the morning. Go ahead, Twin.
Man, did y'all see that goddamn game with Colorado last night? Boy, hey, prime time still prime time 35 years later. That's all I gotta say. Man, what a football game.
All right, y'all. We are out of here. Have a great. Thank you so much for watching the Ryan G. Hensley Show. Your support is greatly appreciated. Please visit RyanGHensley.com to learn more about me and all of my businesses. Whether it's real estate, credit repair, solar, whatever it is, you can find out more about me on that website. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. Thanks again for